What is up, YouTube?
Hi.
Giving honor to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ first and foremost.
Always.
My name is Marcus.
I'm Christian.
And this is Marriage for Dummies
Reacts.
And today we got a request from my friend Andrew Ingard. And it's going to be Brewers celebrate the life of Bob Uecker.
Full ceremony.
Go ahead and like, subscribe, and we love you. Let's check it out.
This guy.
I'm glad you introduced us to it in last video and then dropped this.
That's so true.
Because I understand how important it is.
Bob Costas.
And we're going to one of the games so we can visit, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Being Bob Uecker's broadcast partner for several years on NBC was memorable. Being his friend for a lot longer than that was meaningful. Yeah, he was one of the funniest people who ever lived. He was one of the most distinctive personalities that the great game of baseball has ever known. But beyond that, if Ueck was your friend, he was your friend for life. And in a different but still very real way, many of you folks in the ballpark today and countless other Brewer fans through the decades, whether they ever actually crossed paths with him or not, felt as if they had a friend in Bob Uecker. That he was not just the incomparable voice of your team, but through all those Wisconsin summers, he was your friend. Since Bob's passing in January, there have been other celebrations of his life in other settings. But today, here in the ballpark, which was Bob's real home, the ballpark, this is the chance for all of you to say goodbye and thank you to your friend and to the man who more than anyone else personified your team, Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker.
Dang it, I am going to cry. My heart. Oh, that's so sad.
Up here on the stage, as you can see, George Brett, Bud Selig, Brian Anderson, Christian Yelich, Robin Yount, Mark Atanasio, and Ted Simmons, and we'll hear from each of them as the program moves along. And arrayed in front of us, many members of Bob's family, countless friends, and past Brewer players as well. Now, as we get going here, we ask you to turn your attentions toward the right field line. Ueck, as you know, already has 2 statues at the ballpark, because why not? And now we add this, joining Hank Aaron, Robin Yount, Paul Molitor, and other Milwaukee baseball luminaries, Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker.
Oh, that's amazing. To be that impactful, you know, like, oh, my heart.
And one more thing. Upstairs in the press box, where the writers and broadcasters work, where you called Brewers games for more than half a century at County Stadium and then here, from this day forward, those who broadcast and write about Brewer baseball will do so from the Bob Uecker Broadcast Center.
Or like, is that like?
Forgot that you.
And by the way, those of you who might be wondering about this setup, Bob was on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson close to 100 times. So this kind of replicates. I'm not Johnny Carson, and I don't think George is Ed McMahon, and Bud is definitely not Doc Severinsen, but this is kind of like a Tonight Show situation. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to acknowledge the stages of Ueck's life by, in effect, taking him around the bases. First base is Bob's early life and career. Roll it.
Hey, okay.
That is so cool. Last as long as I did, the skills that I had and the numbers I could do.
You know, I was born and raised here. I went to Boys Tech here in Milwaukee. They had a ballpark about 12 blocks from where I lived growing up, Orchard Field. After school, we would get up there. After the 5th inning, you didn't have to have a ticket anymore. Go up there, it was 3:30 in the afternoon. You'd catch maybe 2 innings of the game. You know, summertime, we were there every day.
Wow.
It was AAA baseball, but it was big league to us in Milwaukee. And then playing baseball. We didn't have a little league. That stuff wasn't around yet. We had a league called the PAL League, Police Athletic League. So we played in there until you're like 13 years old. Then you started playing American Legion baseball.
Oh,
But
wow.
scouts were there, just like they are today at games.
I was kind of a hot-shot pitcher in the Sandlot Leagues here, and I had been scouted by a couple of clubs, and the Braves invited me down here for a tryout, and I must have thrown for 15 minutes, you know, and I mean, I was really airing it out. And he said, now let me see your good fastball. You know, that was my good fastball. He said, kid, I advise you to get a job. We were playing a game up here at Wick Field. We put the catcher stuff on in a Sandlot game. I enjoyed it. I really did. And that was my introduction to catching.
The first year I got to the big leagues was 1962. When I joined the Braves in spring training that year, I mean, the guys like Warren Spahn, Eddie Matthews, Henry Aaron.
When I got into a game, a spring training game, you know, and I was able to catch Warren Spahn, and I mean, what a thrill that was. To me, that was the epitome of everything I ever wanted to do.
I was the first native Milwaukeean to play for the Braves. I was also the first native Milwaukeean to be sent to the minor leagues by the Braves. So that was always big for me.
He's so deprecated. Oh my gosh.
After winning out in the National League race by a nose, the St. Louis Cardinals take on the Yankees in the World Series.
Johnny Keane informed the coaching staff that I would not play in the World Series because of that incident where I picked the tuba up and was walking around.
They had 3 Dixieland bands on the field playing prior to the World Series. And Roger Craig was standing alongside of me. And the band that was playing in left field put their instruments down. So there's a tuba laying up against near the bullpen. So Roger says, you go put that on.
So I grabbed this guy's tuba, and I was catching fly balls.
I dented it. First, I tried to get a trumpet on, and that was too small.
That is so sweet.
The Cardinals are the new world champions. This is one day St. Louis will never forget.
$8,600, a winning share of a World Series was, you know, really big time. Most of us had winter jobs. You know, if you had a family especially. We had a chance at that time, too, to play winter baseball, which I did a couple of years. I went to Puerto Rico and played.
Montage break.
I was there one more year before I got sent to Philadelphia and back to the Braves, where I became Phil Niekro's personal chaser. I led the league in pass balls that year with 27. You know, I played for 13 years. I played 6 in the big leagues, and I didn't become an everyday player.
They pop foul. They catch a Uecker under it, and we have 2 down.
Being able to join the Braves after watching them as a kid, and then to be able to play well enough to at least get to the big leagues, that was what it was all about.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Andrew. You stinker.
There's more to come. We're going to start here with Christian Yelich because he's got a game to play. So we're going to let him say what he has to say. And then turn his attentions to the game. Christian, just a week ago in Cincinnati, you used the Bob Uecker bat. It was Players Weekend, and they could wear the shoes they wanted to wear and whatever. And so the Bob Uecker bat worked pretty well for you.
Yeah, it ended up working out pretty good. And I was supposed to use it last year during Players Weekend, and that was right around the time where I had surgery and wasn't able to play, obviously, but ended up making a couple bats. I think there's 3 or 4 of them, and I was going to use one. We gave one to Uke. I think Shog has one, and I think Louisville kept one for themselves. And this year during Players Weekend, it was obvious that I wanted to use it. Was going to use it, and ended up hitting a homer. My first at bat was pretty cool, and
that's awesome.
you know, had a good laugh with Shog, who's our equipment manager, about that. And then my next at bat, I got blown up and had like a flare double right over like the third base bag, and we kind of joked that Uke probably would have liked that one better. And so it ended up working out great, and was debating using it the rest of the time for the weekend, but decided that it was better just to keep it intact with one game instead of you know, swing at a cutter off the plate or something and have it be in like 3 or 4 pieces. So one and done, and it was really cool that it ended up going out that way. You know, obviously special memories with it, and you know, glad it's on display somewhere here in the stadium.
Might as well let that bat retire as a hero with the 2 homers. And in that game, as you fans remember, Brewers down 8-0, come back, win 10-8. That's the 13th straight in the midst of a 14-game winning streak.
Wow.
Over more than 50 years as the voice of the team, I've heard so many Brewers, past and present, testify to this. But from your perspective, he wasn't just the Hall of Fame voice of the team. He was part of the team.
Yeah, I mean, he was like he was a player. You know, he'd come in every day, hang out with us in the clubhouse, tell stories, eat lunch with the guys, you know, whatever. And it was just great to sit at a table with him, have him come in the locker room, and just talk about his life. And he'd go into character and be Harry Doyle, and you know, somebody threw a wild pitch the night before, he'd go up to him and reenact it, or just
a bit outside.
Exactly. And just
tried the corner and missed.
Yeah, just his whole life was unbelievable, right? He did a little bit of everything, and telling stories about, you know, astronauts calling him from the space station to wish him happy birthday, and it's the only guy that has that happen to him, right? But it was awesome, and we always really just cherished those times, whether it was your first day in the big leagues or you'd been there for 10 years. You know, he treated you as though you were his friend his entire life, and I think that was one of his real gifts, you know, was making people feel like they were best friends and he'd known them forever. Even if he had no idea who you were his best friend, and just had a way of welcoming people. And, you know, we miss him every day, but he's still with us to some extent, and I think we all feel that.
Like, you can't help but like him. Like, even if someone tried to not like him, they would end up liking him.
Bud Selig, you hired Bob Uecker. I mean, I know you made the Hall of Fame as the commissioner of baseball, but maybe your single greatest gift to the game was to make Bob Uecker the voice of the Brewers.
Well.
Oh, geez.
I did, but I'll tell you, Bob, the first thing I did with him after I hired him, I made him a scout. Now, you're all laughing, and you have a right to laugh. And the first scouting report that Bob sent back here, Bob, had mashed potatoes and gravy all over it. And at that time, Frank Lane, our general manager, said, "What am I supposed to do with this?" I said, "He'll be all right." And in 1973, in Yankee Stadium, Bob made his debut. And as you and I have discussed, what often isn't said enough, Bob became a Hall of Famer, great broadcaster.
Yes. Even if he never said anything funny, on his pure play-by-play merits, he was a great announcer.
So we scraped off the mashed potatoes and gravy, and he became a Hall of Fame broadcaster.
You know,
that's awesome.
You may remember this, Bud, talking about him becoming a broadcaster and transitioning from a scout, he told me that in every one of his reports, he would list a guy as a borderline prospect.
That's correct.
That way, if he failed, he wasn't that far off. If he became a great player, well, I said he was a prospect. Everybody was a borderline prospect.
That's exactly right, and that's what he did.
Bud Selig, folks.
That's so funny.
Now, I think it's fair to say, you got Hall of Famers up here like Robin Yount and Ted Simmons, and Paul Molitor's up on the board, and Hank Aaron began his career in Milwaukee and concluded it with the Brewers, coming back here for his last couple of years. But the guy who might have been, over all the years, the biggest star of the team was Bob Uecker himself, even though he never carried himself that way. George Brett kind of represents the loyal opposition here, great Kansas City Royal. What are your reflections on knowing Mr. Baseball?
Well, I made my major league debut in 1973. 1974, my first full year in the major leagues, Bob Uecker came up to me before one of the games, and I didn't know Bob Uecker. And for the next 20 years, Bob Uecker would come up to me, not only here, but in Kansas City, and we would spend 5 or 6 minutes together just talking. He was always Bob. People ask me about Bob Uecker all the time, and I say he's Bob. And they go, what do you mean, he's not Bob all the time? I go, Bob is Bob. I have never met a different Bob. I really haven't.
Correct.
But I haven't been back to Milwaukee since 1993, my last year playing. And I got to thank the Brewers for inviting me. And I really believe if it wasn't for my friendship with Robin Yount that I've really gotten to know Bob from a different light. I bought a home in Arizona about 9 years ago, and when the Royals moved to Arizona from Florida, Robin and Bob would invite me to dinner during spring training. And one year I brought a young fella on our team, Joe Randa. Joe's from Milwaukee area. Robin Yount was his favorite player, and I was having dinner with Bob and Robin that night and a few other players. And I brought Joe Randa and didn't tell Joe what we were doing and who we were having dinner with. To this day, it's Joe Randa's favorite dinner of his life because he loved Robin Yount and he loved Bob Uecker. And as of late, I've gotten, since I bought my home in Arizona, now once or twice a year, the Younts, the Bretts, and the Ueckers go out and have dinner. And my wife has fallen in love with the man. Never laughed so hard in all her life, and I'm going to miss those dinners. And again, Milwaukee, thanks for letting me come back and share some stories. I'm going to miss Bob as much as y'all.
You know what, man? I'm glad that you sent him, Andrew, because I would have went my life without knowing about this guy that had so much impact.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a baseball fan or anything like that. So, but it's nice to hear that somebody that is known as Mr. Baseball transcended baseball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That is so crazy.
Yeah, he wasn't like the all-around greatest at the sport, but like
Yeah, it just shows that when you really love something, but you're also a really amazing person, that's what matters. You know what I mean? Like that's what it all comes down to is you, you know? I love that. My husband
Those
said he
dinners,
wants a
George,
Uecker
any of us who were ever lucky enough to be part of them,
I want a sweatshirt.
you had to book 3-4 hours because the stories never ended, right?
They were long. They were funny. Robin, was it his favorite dish at Don and Charlie's frog legs?
Frog legs. The only reason Don and Charlie's had frog leg was for you. No one else ever ordered them.
I ordered them that night. And I actually liked it.
Okay.
See, I never would have thought of Uke as a frog's legs guy. That's like hot cuisine. I thought of him as a brat and a beer guy. No follow-up.
You obviously didn't know him very well.
I thought I did. Well, beyond baseball, a lot of people came to know Uke, the entertainer, from all the appearances with Johnny Carson, from the Miller Lite commercials, from the Major League movies. So that brings us to second base. Uke goes to Hollywood.
Anything that's fun for me. Fun for
I had a
people
really good
on
relationship with Johnny. A lot of good laughs on the show. I did the first one was 1969. They were still in New York. And the Tonight shows were, I mean, Johnny treated me unbelievably well. I never got knocked off. I mean, it was sometimes kind of tough because I would fly. I would leave Milwaukee or wherever we were. And I would fly, do the Tonight Show, and then take a red eye back to wherever we were. I did that many times. Through one of the great trumpeters in the world during his time, Al Hurt. I had met Al and I was doing a job with him, and he told me I was wasting my time doing it the way I was doing it. So he said, I'm gonna get you on a Tonight Show. 2 weeks later, I get a call. I flew to New York. I met a talent guy. He said, what do you do? I said, nothing. I don't do anything. He said, well, show me what you do. So I talked a little bit. He said, we'll get back to you. So a couple weeks later, they called me and I went back and did the first show. And now when I'm standing backstage of the Tonight Show in New York, now it hits me, right? The Tonight Show. And the guy back there, his name was Irv. I'll never forget him. Irvy. When Johnny introduces me, pull the curtain open, man, now you know, New York and the Tonight Show. The show went good, but I don't know if I was ever that frightened.
Where did the jackets come from? That's kind of where it originated, right? The Carson Show?
Well, one of the jackets that I had a great friend in New York by the name of Julie Hertling who made clothing for uppity clothing companies, and he made me a patch coat. So I wore it on a Tonight Show one night. And when Johnny asked me, he said, "This, it's quite a jacket you got on there." I told him they were pieces of flags from some of the states that I played in during my career, which he thought was pretty good.
That's silly.
Bud, the first time Bob approached you about the Miller Lite opportunities, I know there was a little negotiation there because there was a conflict at that point in time, correct?
I guess there was. I have to go back to see.
Well, we had Pabst.
We had, and Schlitz.
And Schlitz, yeah.
Right.
Schlitz was our main sponsor, but we were weaving Miller into, but yeah, there was. But, you know, the way I always felt about that, and I know that my friend Mark feels the same way, all that exposure that he got, I always thought helped the Brewers, helped baseball, and helped Milwaukee.
That whole thing came about in Milwaukee, and I'm working there, and the third time they asked me, I turned it down. And then the fourth time I thought, if I don't do this, they're not gonna ask me anymore. So that's when Bud and I talked it over again, and I went down to the brewery and talked to their people, the Pabst Brewing Company. I told Buddy if you know it didn't work out, and he was fully behind everything that I ever did. And it turned out to be, you know, a good opportunity and great fun. On one of the Belvedere shows, we had a couple of NFL players on the show, on a Who's the Boss episode that I did. And I'm just talking about being around Tony Danza and those people at that time who had, the shows were huge, you know, ratings-wise. And to be able to do that and be with them for a few days and work and tell stories and laugh.
Wow, what a game this was.
The Tonight shows and the stand-up stuff, the commercial work that we did, all of them, I did them all. I'm not bragging about it. I did them because they were good for a laugh. You know, that's all it was.
Holy cow, do you believe it?
I don't care how big you were. Once your days are gone by as a player, you know, things are kind of shaky. And when you see those spots run sometimes 3 and 4 times a day during major sporting events, you know, it's a big boost.
All that front row stuff, all those things have become part of Americana. They really have. Well, I've been in the front row my whole life, man.
And a standing ovation for Bob Uecker in the radio booth.
One of a kind, isn't he?
One of one.
It's what Brewers baseball is all about, Bob Uecker.
You can't do it any better than that.
Yeah. He is just a character, like, for real.
Well, Johnny Carson is gone. Last I checked, Doc Severinsen in his late 90s is still with us. He was here at age 85 when we dedicated the first statue for Ueck outside the ballpark. But there are a few people who connect to Bob's career outside baseball. From the Major League movies, Skip Graparis and Willie Mueller are here in attendance.
I didn't know those were movies.
Major League? Yeah. We've never seen it, Andrew.
We got to watch it.
Dynamite drop-in money. They don't call him the best color man in the league for nothing. And from the Belvedere cast, Tracy Tofty and Bryce Beckham. And for those of you watching on TV, you will hear from those folks I just mentioned during inning breaks with Brian Anderson and Bill Schroeder during the course of the game. Okay, from second base to third base, let's take a look, at least an overview, of Ueck as the baseball broadcaster.
You've sort of moved out of the playing end of baseball. You're in the front office. You're also doing some of the broadcasts with Milo Hamilton and Ernie Johnson.
If I said I didn't miss playing last year, I'd be telling the story because I really did. But I think every ball player figures that the...
Hey, telling the story means lie. It's what you say to be pleasant. Like my grandma used to say, you better not say...
better not tell stories.
No, if you say telling a lie, you were cursing in the house. So telling the story is not cursing. Yeah.
That's confusing.
Nah, tell me if anybody else is saying lie. Is that cursing? Has anybody ever? You know what I'm saying?
Just kidding.
All right.
That was mean.
Yeah, crickets. Oh, if y'all wanted us to react to some content of your choosing, best way to get us to do that, go into our description. We got Cash App, Venmo, PayPal links. Click on one of those. Send a donation along with the name of the song or the content you want us to react to.
And we will do it.
Yeah. You can go on forever. You just don't realize that sooner or later the time's going to come to an end. This is Bob Uecker of the Atlanta Braves. The 1969 baseball season is right around the corner. I'm inviting you to join Milo Hamilton, Ernie Johnson, and myself for all Braves telecasts here on Channel 11 in Savannah. I worked for a couple of years there, and then I was doing a New York Writers' Dinner, and Bud Selig was there, and we went out after the dinner, and he offered me a job to come back to Milwaukee the following season, and I did.
It was more nerve-wracking for me to work the radio broadcast because I kept thinking about my friends that lived here. What is he doing? We all grew up together. He's on radio. He stinks. And the two guys I worked with, Merle Harmon and Tom Collins, I was comfortable with them. I sat between them. I did one inning. I did the 5th inning of play-by-play. I had never done anything like that. Never done nothing. They left me alone in Yankee Stadium. We're playing the Yankees. My 5th inning comes up. Merle says, here's Bob for the 5th. And they got up and left. And they were standing way over there, and I could see it. I begged them. To come back and sit with me. I was scared, unbelievably scared. And the engineer finally said,
you better start talking because there's one out.
All right, Buddy Bell, the Cleveland third baseman, will lead it off against right-hander Billy Champion. Come on, Champ, right here. Nail it down.
I don't think I've ever said a bad word about a player in my whole life. Never, ever. I know how tough it is to play. There's always a way to get around mistakes without ripping. You know, I did the network stuff, and I told them right away, if you're looking for a guy that's going to, you know, rip the players and talk bad about them, I'm not your guy.
What a sweetheart.
These two guys came out to L.A. when I was doing Belvedere, and we went out to eat, and they offered me a job as the Yankee broadcaster, right? The only reason I was doing it was to find out what kind of money these guys were making in New York. I wasn't going to leave Milwaukee. There was no way.
When you do radio and you look around the ballpark, you don't have to have stories, you don't have to have stats, you don't have to have anything. I mean, if the game warrants something other than what's going on, I do that. If you got a good game, I don't think people want to hear some guy making fun and telling jokes.
Morgan, a smash up the middle, base hit to center. Here comes Gomez, around third, a throw, and the Brewers win.
Gantner, there he goes. The pitch, a swing and a fly ball, right field and deep. Get up, and get out of here. Gone for Swain, and they've done it again.
Here it is. Yelich sends one to right center and deep. Get up, get out of here and gone. Henry Aaron. I called his last home run. It was unbelievable.
Here's a drive, left field deep. Hey, get out of here for Henry. It is gone. Hey, he did it. Henry Aaron has just hit one out of here.
Number 3,000, base hit to right field against Cleveland. That hit against Jose Mesa in County Stadium that night, I mean, that's number one.
Back in against Mesa, who is working from the windup. The 0-1 pitch. Swings, and there it is! A base hit into right center. He's done it. 3,000 for Robin.
To be able to, it's more of a friendship thing. It's not where I'm, you know, the local broadcaster anymore. I'm one of the guys, you know, and I miss the days when I used to throw batting practice. I did that every day for about 25 years and threw to the same guys for probably 15 years. And every day, that was my job. Go down, throw batting practice, get dressed, take a shower. Sometimes I didn't shower. And go back upstairs and do the game.
You become a part of people's lives.
Yeah.
And I've been hearing from the same people, their kids, their grandkids. It makes me feel good. It really does. I know what I mean to a lot of people. I love baseball.
I can't handle it. Yeah, that is too sweet.
Well, I really do. I love doing radio. I love hanging around with the guys, being down in the field.
I don't really consider this a job.
Hey. The best thing to do is when you ain't got to work a day in your life, but you know what I'm saying? When it feels like you ain't working a day in your life.
Yeah.
Do what you love.
When it doesn't feel like a job.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Brian Anderson. I'm commandeering this moment now, representing my colleagues, Brewers Television and Brewers Radio, because I got a message from above that said, Mr. Costas, your audition is over. We wanted to turn the tables on Bob Costas here because you knew him so well and you've done such an amazing job hosting not just today, but also back in April for our event. Bob Costas has really sunk everything he's had into this. He's not just here reading scripts, he's curated a great part of all of this. But we wanted to give you an opportunity to tell us about Bob Costas, the broadcaster.
Well, not about me, but about my partnership with Uke. And luckily, I'd known him for a while prior to when we first got together in the mid-'90s. So I was familiar with a lot of his anecdotes, and if a circumstance allowed for it, I'd kind of throw him a batting practice fastball, and he'd hit it out of the park and then give me the fist bump, you know, because I took him to third base and then he brought it home. But he was such a good broadcaster, as the commissioner mentioned earlier, on his own merits. Even without the Mr. Baseball persona, he was just damn good. I mean, listen to these calls, how great those calls were. That's what made him a Hall of Fame broadcaster. But we had a shtick, and some of the people here will remember it, whether it was in spring training in Arizona or if I happened to be here in Milwaukee or some other city where the Brewers were playing. I'd come up and do 3 or 4 innings with him, and the premise always was that I was auditioning to be the third guy in the Brewer booth. So I'd have to start calling the game, and then he'd slip and go, "Good, real good," or, "Hey, you look a little tight, loosen up." You know, that was our shtick, and people seemed to like it. And the last time we did it was September of '24. I knew this would be Uke's last season behind the mic, and I came up the last week of the regular season, and we did it the same thing again, and it was poignant. You know, Uke, there was a lot more to Uke than the public persona, as great as it was. There was a lot of heart, and like all of us, there were ups and downs in his life, but he didn't wear that on his sleeve. Even as he was going through his cancer treatments and whatnot, if he came to the ballpark, and he wasn't up to it every day or night, but when he came to the ballpark, he was Mr. Baseball with a smile on his face and that vibrancy in his voice. But you could tell toward the end that he sensed that this was the end of his baseball life. And as painful as it was when the lead slipped away against the Mets in the playoffs, if you listen to the last words that Bob spoke, that was like his baseball valedictory. He was saying goodbye to his profession, to the game, and to Milwaukee. And it was very touching.
Very well said.
Dang it.
And even though he had a lot of fun and gave us a lot of laughs, he also took his craft very seriously.
Yeah.
I never had a broadcasting conversation with Bob Uecker. We had life conversations, philosophical conversations about how to be in the ecosystem of a Major League Baseball team. One of my favorite things about Bob Uecker, when I got the job here in Milwaukee, my partner Bill Schroeder said, make sure you're on the 4 o'clock bus on the road, because that's where Bob Uecker's comedic genius comes out in full ad lib with whatever he sees on the way to the ballpark. And a lot of those stories were all the practical jokes he used to play on famous announcers, namely Bob Costas, who probably doesn't know where his meticulously prepared notes went for a World Series game for 2 hours, where certain things, his earpiece, why they were always missing, why he was getting wake-up calls at 2 in the morning at the hotels. So I thought I'd share that with you now.
From the World Series.
And that's why it's so great to have you here. I'm taking over hosting roles just for this bit to thank you, Bob Costas, for being here for Bob Uecker.
Well,
2 Bobs.
it was. Thank you. Thank you. It was one of the great blessings of my career to have worked with him, but an even greater blessing of my life to have been his friend for as long as I was. And there isn't a single person on this stage that in their own way wouldn't say the same thing.
Amen to that.
We ought to acknowledge, because he would want us to, Josh Mauer, just starting out in his career upstairs, and Lane Grindle, and Jeff Levering up in the booth. And Uke would always mention the engineer and producer on every broadcast, Kent Sommerfeld. So Kent is up there too.
Yeah, give him a hand.
Josh, Lane, Jeff, Kent. Thank you, guys.
That's sweet.
He was a great mentor that way, and he left that legacy with us as broadcasters. and we try to carry that tradition, and we try to have a lot of fun, as you know. And this is a special day to bring this all together. And now I'll return you to your position as MC, Bob Costas. Your audition is back on.
Well, you know, folks, this is not necessarily a mutual admiration society, but it is sincere, not just as the television voice of the Brewers, but for the games on TBS, the NBA games, March Madness games, now golf and tennis. It is only a matter of time until we introduce Brian Anderson as Hall of Fame broadcaster.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you recognize him?
No.
And now, Uke is rounding third and heading for home. Let's talk about specifically his life as the voice of the Brewers.
Why would you do it like that?
That felt like it.
When I came back here as a member of the broadcast crew, I also threw batting practice every day. And I did that for 20 years, 25 years maybe. And the three guys that I had, Robin Yount, Paul Molitor, Don Money, Cecil Cooper once in a while. But I did it every day. I did it on the road, would throw it to those guys, go shower, change, and then go up and do the game. Even with all the other stuff that I did, this was always a place for me to come back to. Our ownership group, Mark Atanasio, with Buddy, with Selig, they turned into be great friends. It's a different perspective when you're more than just a broadcaster. I mean, when you're down in the clubhouse with them every day, you're in uniform every day. I was in uniform more then than when I played. You become more than friends with these guys. You hear about family problems sometimes. You hear about game problems. You know, you're doing the games every day. And when things aren't going right for the team, you're with them. They expected me to be with them after the game, no matter where it was. I was with them all the time. They bought me a pair of their shoes last year. And on the back of the shoe, it says, "One of us."
This conglomeration of greats that are here today, a lot of them were teammates, but they won't admit it. But they were. They are wonderful friends and always will be. To all of you baseball fans around America and any place else, for your letters, your thoughts, your kindness for all of these years. It's been a great run. This has been a wonderful, wonderful time.
That's so sweet.
Ted Simmons was on his way to establishing his Hall of Fame credentials with some great seasons with the Cardinals. But then he joined the Brewers and was a big part of the pennant push in 1982, had a big World Series against his old team, the Cardinals, in '82. And when you arrived in Milwaukee, Ted, you didn't know the league. You had been in the National League. The Brewers had just switched over to the American League. You were kind of a fish out of water, and Uke was helpful to you, right?
Yeah. He had history that I knew, but he didn't know I knew it because he broke the ice when I first came to Milwaukee. He approached me and he begun by saying, "Hi, Ted, I'm Bob Uecker. I used to," and I thought he'd say, "play Major League Baseball." He didn't say that. He said, "I'm Bob Uecker. I used to play for the St. Louis Cardinals." And I said right away, I know that, which kind of surprised him, but, you know, I knew it. He was there in '64 when the Cardinals ended up winning everything, and he was on that team that beat the Yankees that year, and I knew it. And he opened a dialogue, almost essentially the first guy to welcome me to Milwaukee as a person I trusted. And I trusted him because, one, he was a former Major League player,
A lot of people don't ever focus on that. And although he was always diminishing his own kind of contribution as a player, it's part of his stick, which was great, but when you're a backup catcher at the major league level for 6 years, you live and die every game because you never know when you're going to get to play. We had Ned Yost here when I was here, and Ned never got to play. And guys like Jimmy Leland, who now recently, was elected to the Hall of Fame. He was a backup major league player. People don't realize how serious a role that is because you're forced to learn the game of baseball. And people never focused on that. But I knew that when I got here, he knew and understood what I needed to know. And with a brand new ball club, with names like Molitor and Young and Cooper and all the rest, I was just a fish out of water, as you say, trying to assimilate and convince these guys that, we could go a long way with this. And so Uecker, I could rely on, talk baseball with, and we did. And there were a couple of players on this team that I needed help with because we had one pitcher who had just an absolutely atomic pitch. All he wanted to throw was that pitch. Can't survive at the major league level that way. Had another one do the same thing with a different pitch. I said, what do I got to know about these guys? And he enlightened me. Then I could go to them and tell them, look, this is what's got to be done here. And he told me, be careful because these two guys, get them oiled up a little too much to talk to them, they'll come after you. So he gave me insights that needed to be given. And when I wanted to talk to somebody about Major League Baseball at the Major League level, I'd go to him. And he helped me immeasurably and introduced me literally to this town of Major League Baseball.
Thanks, Ted. And let me correct myself here, otherwise I won't be able to sleep at night. As you all know, obviously, the Brewers started out as an American League team when Bud Selig brought the Seattle Pilots here, and then as commissioner, he made the right move. It made sense geographically and historically, given the Braves having been here, to move the team to the National League, where it now resides atop the National League Central. But they were in the American League when they faced the Cardinals. Otherwise, they don't play, National League against National League in the World Series. It's the American League Brewers versus the National League Cardinals in '82. Mark Attanasio now owns the ball club and had, as almost everybody here can say, in one way or another, a very close relationship with Bob Uecker.
Thank you, Bob. Before we launch in, I just want, on behalf of the organization and the community, echo BA's thanks for your coming here and, importantly, being such a good friend to Bob and his family.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Floor is yours. Your thoughts on Uecker.
I know we've got a game to play, as Commissioner Selig often would say to me when I was talking to him and the game was about to start. He said, there's a game going to be played. I'll just share my first meeting with Bob, when, to my surprise, I was chosen to be the next steward for the club here. The first two calls I made were to Bob Uecker and Robin Yount. And I can reliably report I got a much quicker response from Robin Yount. What I didn't know, and frankly didn't know until Bob passed, and Bob Jr. shared with me, is that Uecker thought that this might be the right time for him to transition to doing something else. And so he was a little hard to get. but it was really because he wasn't sure what was the right thing for him. So Wendy Seelig, who was the president of the team then, who you called chief, said, Bob, you've got to meet with Mark, even if it's just 30 minutes. So when we had the ownership meeting in Scottsdale to vote on my ownership, we met in a bar in Scottsdale at a hotel, and before I even sit down, Uke said, you've got 30 minutes. That became a 3 to 4 hour meeting and the start of a beautiful friendship. And a friendship not just for me, but for my wife, Debbie, our sons, Dan and Mike, my parents, Connie and Joe, and our whole extended family. And I think one of the things that captures my heart about this year's team is the T-shirt they wear says, the power of friendship. And you embodied that every day with everybody on this stage, with all kinds of folks who are in the front row and in the community, including Lorraine in the third row here who works upstairs in the commissary. So I'd say,
Aww.
God bless Uke.
They are. Oh, sweet. Andrew, this is so beautiful. Thank you, man.
Oh. Yeah, well, Robin gets emotional when the subject is Uke. So I was just kind of trying to get the wink and the nod from him that he was good to go. So I'll just give you this and you take it wherever you want to go. I think of all the great announcers. I was around St. Louis for a long time. Jack Buck, one of the greatest of the great. Of course, the players loved him and respected him. Vin Scully in Los Angeles, Ernie Harwell in Detroit. But it was somehow different with Uke. He truly was a member of the team. Robin, turn it around.
You think he did it on purpose?
Uke showed me that one.
That's so funny. Aww. That's so awesome.
I promise you I'll keep this short and sweet because I'm not sure how long I'll be able to go. But I just want to tell you, I met Uke in 1974.
Uke showed me that one.
Up until he passed in 2025.
That's so funny.
He was the same person through all the things he accomplished. We've seen much of it on the screen today. But he never changed throughout all those years.
Wow.
He just loved making people laugh. Yeah. Right to the end. He told me he wasn't afraid of dying. He just didn't want to be there when it happened.
That's awesome. He's killing. He is killing it.
God rest your soul, Uke. Love you, buddy.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Uke showed me that one. Aww. Beautifully executed.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
You showed me that
one. That was boss. That was killer. He just executed that awesome.
Are they saying you?
I think so, yeah.
We could not ask for a more perfect note to end this segment on. And now I'd like to invite members of the Uecker family, Judy, Sue, Bob Jr., Kathy, Emily, Kelsey, and Becca, to walk out toward the mound. And Robin, you're going to grab a glove because you will catch the first pitch from Bob Jr.
Oh, Bob Jr.
His son, yeah. Aww. So that's Bob Jr.
Well,
Yep.
couldn't lie. You couldn't lie about him. Man.
That's his son.
That's his baby.
If you
right
didn't
there.
know, that's his son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to
Definitely
put a
his
tag
son.
up.
Hold on, Bob. You can warm up. You can warm up. You want to
His
talk?
wife, bro. My heart.
You're about to get some company here.
Aw, yay. Go team. Go team. Look at this dude. When I used to work in a sports bar and it would show the baseball games, I would be like, why is there not as many people in the stands? Like, what the heck? That is filled. Wow. That is so crazy.
And as you notice, every Brewer player and coach
Oh my gosh. My heart
not
broke.
wearing their own name on the back of the uniform. They all say Uke.
Aww. So sweet.
No, babe. No.
Uke. I wasn't sure if you had to like lower your voice to do it, because that's what the crowd sounded like. Or is it just a bunch of men in there? Got it. That's wild. Oh. How sweet. Yo, that lady is tiny. His wife is so little. That's so sweet. Aw, stop it. I know that's so hard to do. But beautiful to do, you know? I like that, how the men shake the other lady's hand.
Okay, Bob.
Aww. That's sweet. I missed it. The camera, it didn't like show it. Like.
And now Robin's going to join the Brewer team and Uke's family for a group photo.
Memories.
Our thanks to everyone who joined us on the stage with their remembrances today. Our thanks to all of you Brewer fans for being here to honor Uke, to the whole ball club. And now, as we get ready for the national anthem and the first pitch that counts today against the Giants, here's one last remembrance of Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker.
Of all the things that I've done, this has always been number one, baseball.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back, so I'll root for the Brewers. You do the same for the Cubs. Then it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
Oh gosh, this part. Come on. They killed it with that.
Game. Thank you very much. I love y'all. Thank you.
The 0-1 pitch.
Wow.
That's a beautiful way to.
Yeah, they did that so well.
He's done it. 3,000 for Robert.
Wow.
The arm is back. Here he comes. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Goodbye, Detroit. Hello, New York. Oh, what a victory today for this Milwaukee Brewer ball club.
Hit to left and deep. Get up! Get up! Get out of here! Gone! Jackson Churio!
How did that happen? Like him way up there, you know? I want to know that story. Oh.
So long, everybody, from American Family Field here in Milwaukee.
That was beautiful. They did a really good job with that last video, for real. Oh, he's like right near it. Oh. What? That is.
What a way to go.
Yeah.
Wood National Cemetery, where Bob Uecker was laid to rest in January. He was one of one, and Tim, no doubt, he's smiling down on us all today. What an incredible ceremony that was.
This is something that people are going to be talking about for generations to come.
Yeah.
About a man that changed the game of baseball.
God bless you,
the game was
Andrew,
here
for
before us. It'll be here long after it.
Making us
that
understand
man made this game better.
story and who this man was.
Bob Costas said it
we
beautifully.
definitely missed
If
out
Uke was your
on knowing
friend,
who
he was your
while
friend
he
for
was
life.
here, you
And
know?
there's undoubtedly thousands and thousands inside this ballpark and thousands at home who feel
100%.
the exact same way if you met him or if you didn't. That's what makes his legacy so incredible.
Just a wonderful event all the way around. So many legends here to celebrate and honor a legend. No more fitting name than Mr. Baseball for Bob Uecker.
And there you see owner Mark Antanasio, Commissioner Emeritus Bud Selig, and General Manager Matt Arnold after that beautiful ceremony. His wife Judy there.
Oh,
and our
stop it.
Lorraine.
Not the. Oh, jeez. My heart.
Sharing a hug here inside American Family Field. We told you there'd be tears. We told you there would be laughs, and there was plenty of both. An incredible way to honor him, Bob Jr. there, who just threw out the first pitch at American Family Field.
Beautiful. That was really beautiful, Andrew. Seriously.
Yeah, it was.
We really appreciate that. We enjoyed it. And we're so glad to know who he is.
Yeah.
And like I said, I wish that we knew him while he was here. We could have experienced going to that while he was. But man, what a blessing it is to see what his impact was. And if you don't feel inspired to be anything just slightly a little bit like that guy, you know, I think he would be very happy about that, you know. So God bless you guys. We love you, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yep.